Hello and welcome to your... It's not annual, it's not weekly, it's not bi-weekly, it's not monthly. Whatever this is, it's your DaVinci Resolve stream. Hello. Thank you for joining me on this cozy day. Whether you're inside or outside, whether you're in winter or summer, depending on where in the world you are, I don't know how that works. Whether you're in school, you're at work. Probably shouldn't be watching if it's either of those two, but I'm glad you're here.
Hey! Where?
Hey, Narazen, how's it going? How's everything? How was life? Welcome in.
Hey! Where?
And now Restream Bot is gonna go crazy. Love it. It's my favorite thing in the world. Okay. Let me pull up Twitch chat here. And maybe it'll actually tell me what people say. Who knows? I've heard chat is an experimental feature. I'm just being serious. It's been very up and down lately, if I'm being quite honest with you. Overall, I'd say it's pretty good, though. Outside of being laid off again. Not again, but... Because it was a couple years ago when I was laid off. It feels like again, because it's not the first time it's happened, but... What's up, it's Shed? How's it going? How's everything? How was life? But... we're back into it. Oh my goodness, that was delayed as heck. It's working though. Yeah, thankfully it wasn't like... it wasn't like too panicky of a situation because I immediately had backup stuff because I just went back into freelance. So I just picked up right where I left off almost. But the part that really sucks about it is like I was actually really enjoying that job and we all enjoyed being there, but they had to get rid of the team because they were like almost out of money. So
hey,
not much you could have done with that.
Where?
Hey Ixta, how's it going? How's everything? How was life? I've been seeing you going live a little bit more frequently. I've been meaning to drop in and say hi. Hello. Let's see. Okay, so that's going through. Cool. I had to redo how my streaming setup works because I can't remember if... I think AT&T might have screwed something up on their end. I don't know. Doing well and slowly coming back. Yeah, hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. Outside of being laid off a week and a half ago, I'm doing pretty good. What was I gonna say? Oh, so apparently there's some weird gateway issues with my modem. I've been going like crazy trying to figure this stuff out. I've put like a bunch of momentary fixes, like doing some port forwarding, adding in firewall port rules to allow certain ports to come through and to like inbound and outbound. I've added an unmanaged switch for one computer to go to another. So I got it to the point where it's consistently enough for me to send video and audio to different computers, but it's still not using anywhere near the full bandwidth it could. So I had to redo how I sent audio so it wouldn't be reliant on if the video signal was streaming or not. So thankfully, I should have just been using this audio solution in the first place. It's called Audio Relay. So it basically just sends all of your audio through your network. And the other computer receives it, and it shows it up as it shows up as inputs and outputs, and it's very, very easy instead of trying to send all your individual sources. Like, I'm really annoyed I didn't really use this before. At the same time, though, there are certain things in certain applications where you would need to separate them all out. In which case, there are solutions for that, but whatever.
Where?
Brody! Oh my goodness, it's been a hot minute and a half. How's it going? How's everything? How is life? I've been pretty insane. things are okay, I would say.
Have this what looks like brackets, and if we click and hold in the middle of this clip and start moving it, you'll see it's giving us 4 different windows. You'll see moving it, or it's giving us moving it. It's giving us 4 different windows.
It's been good, just been grinding away. Dude, right there with you.
Moving it. It's giving us 4 different windows. It's showing us the beginning of the clip, the end of the clip, and then what the clip, and the clip, and end of the clip, and then what the clip, the end of the clip, and then what the
just extend that out, just
clip, and then what the last frame of the previous clip is, and what the first frame of the next clip is. So let's go ahead. Clip is. So let's go ahead.
Frankly, dog from when last talk, I have bills and needs. I know, like when we were first part of that whole group stuff, weren't you like, 6? Yeah. But yeah, I guess because when we started doing all that group stuff, it basically, yes. But now you're like, what? I don't know how old you are now, but at least your voice was. Oh man, no, you were legit though. That was a fun time. I do miss those days in some respect. 20, almost 21, dude. That's insane to think about. Holy, that is so weird. And it's weird for me to say it because I have a 13-year-old. It's good to hear to go back up. So what are we working on today? So this is a video that's, funny enough, not going on my channel. But it's basically going to be a video on like how to get started and resolve in 15 minutes. If you like never used the software before and you want to learn it or something, or at least you want to just jump in and get started, how to do it in 15 minutes.
Skim's clip is. So let's go ahead and skim this over a little bit. Maybe we want to use a different part of this clip here.
And basically, I'm trying to cut it down to 15 minutes, and as you can see, there's decent amount left, and there might be a whole section over here I might just cut out because it's not really a part of the video. It's like, I was gonna see if I could slot it in depending on how much time I had, but oh well.
I think that's probably where I want. So that's a great way to I think that's probably where I want. So that's a great.
It's been a while since I used Revolve. I should go back into it. Absolutely, you should. I mean, if you're using anything else, then there's no question that you should. All right, I want to make sure because I didn't test it. I need to make sure it's working. Oh yeah, Resolve has been killing it lately. Like it's actually kind of insane. Okay, let me go to my channel here. I just want to see. How do I find my live stuff? I don't know how to use this platform. Oh my word. And OBS is not helping much. Okay. There we go. Thought that was going to be useful. It's ended up being more annoying than anything. Okay, so this is working. Yeah, so if I just do test, calm down, horse. I know it's coming.
Hey! Where?
Okay. So did that go?
Hey!
There it is.
Where?
Restream, can you calm down? I need to put rules on that so it doesn't just ignores Restream bot. Okay, but that's working. All right, sick. I just wanted to make sure that that was functional because I did change stuff around and I wasn't sure if it was broken or not. Okay. All right, it's not broken. Great.
that next clip change is. So let's go ahead and skim this over a little bit. Maybe we want to use a different part of this clip here, and I think that's probably where
Let's just cut that part out entirely.
So let's go ahead and
spot where maybe that overlaps.
So let's go ahead and skim this over a little bit. Maybe we want to use a different part.
Whoa.
We want to use a different. Maybe we want to use a different part.
Oh.
Maybe we want to use a different part of this clip here, and I think that's probably where I want. So that's a great way to change the part of the clip that you want to use without actually changing anything in the timeline, and you keep all of your timing the same, and you don't have to worry about moving clips around. Don't have to worry about moving clips around. And then let's go. And then let's go ahead and go to our last. And now I can move the timeline itself just by middle clicking and holding and then dragging, and I can just move left and right in my timeline accordingly. So let's go ahead and find the snap that we want in this clip. We want to start right around here. I'm gonna go ahead and ripple that cut, scroll out, go to the end of the clip, and this is the longer clip.
I'm debating on whether or not I want to actually keep this.
And so now we have kind
section.
of our completed timeline. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of it. And it's gonna go to let's go ahead and go to our last clip now.
I might voice this over. Do you do video editing full time? Yeah, it's my job. Yeah, it's cinematography and video editing, yes. And sometimes color grading. And so I sometimes function as a colorist, depending on the need. So I'll do my own. I usually do my own color work, but I've been hired as a colorist like a handful of times, but it's not frequent.
Moving clips around. And then let's go ahead.
I would like to get more colorist work, to be fair. But yeah. I mainly just do it for myself. Yeah, it's fun. I do enjoy it. So. And with the market being where it is, it's a little rough. So just trying to figure out ways to generate some more passive income, or maybe start bringing on some additional clientele. But right now I'm doing all right.
Hey! Where?
Well, hello. Is this your... It's going to take a second for that thing to load. There it is. Let's talk about review. How's it going? How's everything else life? YouTube chat is so delayed. It's weird because like I'll see... My software gets it like 5 seconds before it actually posts to chat. I don't know why. It's so weird. It tells you something on the inner mechanisms of YouTube chat.
Hey! Where?
Okay. We back? I don't know what that was. At least it immediately reconnected. Did it start a new stream because of that? I hate it when it does that. I wish it would just continue. And an ad, of course. Back in real time, let's go. And it's gonna make like a second YouTube. I hope that was fast enough. Sometimes if it gets back on fast enough, YouTube won't make it a second video. Let's see if that is the case. Hold on. Whoa! Oh my goodness. And the webcam border is completely in the wrong spot. I forgot to fix that. What? It didn't even play the... Oh, because I forgot to monitor it. Whoops. There's so many whoopsies about that. Okay, I knew something was broken that I forgot to fix. That was one of them. Alright, well... You got a broken thing. Anyways, thank you, Brody, for so much for the Prime. I very much appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, it looks like the YouTube thing just continued and it just cut it. So that's good. All right. Since Ask Me Anything, why would one right click and convert a single clip to a Fusion? Wait. Why would one right click and convert to a single clip to a Fusion clip as opposed to just opening the clip in Fusion? That's an interesting question. Part of the reason is because it treats the resolutions differently. So it's a way to keep your resolutions consistent. So like as an example, let's see this footage. What did I make the timeline in? Because this, hopefully this, I could actually use this as an example. And of course it's gonna hate me. All right, hold on. For some reason, full screen does not like me. I do not know why. And you're still gonna be a butt. All right. This only happens on my home PC with these monitors specifically. I do not know why. Okay, let me just do this. Let me go to... Let me just make this a list. Okay, so this is in fact 34 by 2060. So let me switch this real quick. And of course I can't do that. But I can from here. Let's just switch this. Okay. All right. So if I was to take this clip directly into Fusion, I'm just going to knock over some stuff. You'll see that our resolution up here is 3840 by 2160, right? But if I make this a Fusion clip and go in, now our resolution is 1920 by 1080. The other reason, now, most of the time you don't really have to do that. The other advantage is like if you have multiple layers, of course, and you put those into a Fusion clip and you bring it in, then you have both of your layers, including a transparent background that's automatically built for you, which is nice. So. For the example, if you're making a vertical way and you're using footage that is obviously larger, the Fusion clip method tends to remove access without a timeline boundary. That depends on your scaling. If your scaling is not set according to, like if it's set to a crop or if it's set to scale to fill, I always want to call it scale to fill. It's whatever this is. I mean, it's fill here, but if it's fill or stretch or crop or something, then that's probably why that's doing that, because it's basically it's making a new image. So whatever that new image is the only thing that Fusion clip sees. So that might be why that's happening. But if you do it to scale to fit, then you should be bringing in everything normally. Because I have had this issue when I was because I have ran this where I needed to make shorts out of an interview, or I needed to just post vertical versions of it. And if I moved, and I was using multicam sequences, so it wasn't exactly the same. But in those multicam sequences, because it wasn't scaling to fit, whenever I tried to just position it this way, it would just cut that whole rest of the thing off. So if you want to make it a vertical reel from your screen capture, so like let's say this was a vertical timeline. Is it going to let me do it this time? Let me just bring this down and see if it'll do it this time. Something is very broken on my PC and I don't like it. Okay, let's just do it from the media pool then. Still no? Okay. Turn that off. Timelines. Timeline settings. Okay. All right, so let's just say, hypothetically speaking, this was a vertical resolution. So right now I have mismatch resolution to scale to full frame with crop. So if I do this, and then go back into the edit page, now it's cutting off the left and right edges. And since this isn't like, now because I'm not in the fusion clip, if I move this around, everything's there, right? But then, like you're saying, when we put this into a fusion clip and then move it, now all of a sudden it's cut off. And if I go inside of the fusion clip, while this is still the case, let's say I use a transform, same thing, right? So what we can do is, instead of doing the fusion clip like this, on this clip we'll make sure that the scaling is set to fit. And then when we make our new fusion clip and then go in, now we have access to the full thing, and we can use what's called the letterbox node. And then this one, I think pan and scan is, oh, I don't think it's actually going to, it doesn't show. Let me think. Because it should have a way for us to scale this to, oh, I need to use 2 letterbox nodes. So we'll set this to the actual resolution that this is, which is 3840 by 2160. And then I can set another letterbox node. And now if I do pan and scan, we still have access to everything. So let me see if, because I have proxies on right now, theoretically this should still, and it's going to take a minute to refresh. Sometimes I need to go back to the edit page and say, hey, don't use the... In a perfect world, I could give you access to full region outside the boundaries either way. Yeah, so the problem is how the problem is how the images themselves work. Because once you go into a node, you're giving it whatever that full image is, and that, depending on which type of node it is, like a transform or a letterbox, they can't necessarily see what's outside of the image that's given. If it's in this constraint, then it can't physically see anything outside of that. That's just kind of like a limitation in boundaries. I feel like there is a better way to work with this though. So, because this is one way to do it, and I'm trying to think. So let me back out of this for a second. Let me think. Because I would like to do what you're describing and place this in its own... Wait a minute. Well, if I go back into the fusion clip, but for this fusion clip, let's bring in the letterbox again. And instead of using this resolution, let's do what its actual resolution is, 3840, 2160. Pan scan. No, it still doesn't want to. Okay.
Hey! Where?
I missed that. How much RAM out of VRAM? RAM out of VRAM didn't need VRAM. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's what that comment made me think of. I'm so sorry. Augment, how's it going? How's everything? I was life. Welcome in. And we're vampires. How's it going? How's everything? I was life. How much VRAM? So okay, Resolve loves its VRAM. So minimum, I would say, minimum RAM, I would say is 32. Especially if you're doing stuff in Fusion. If you're not doing any Fusion or heavy GPU stuff, you could get away with 16. Maybe even 8 if you're lucky. And you know how to utilize proxies really well. And then VRAM, once again, it depends on what all you're utilizing it Resolve for. Again, assuming you're doing Fusion stuff, like as much as you can get. Right now I only have 12, and it definitely feels limiting. I would not go any lower than 12 for VRAM, especially if you're using Fusion. If you're not using Fusion stuff, not going to be that huge of a deal if you go slightly lower, but I probably wouldn't go any lower than 8. That's kind of like where I find is like the sweet spot. But yeah, Fusion stuff will love VRAM if you can give it to it. Yeah, no problem. So if I go into this Fusion clip and I can't modify the Fusion clip itself.
Hey!
I'm racking my brain.
Where?
Emio! Twitch tried to block you. Oh, how dare Twitch? How dare it? Oh my goodness. How's it going, Emio? How's everything in his life? Okay. So, anyways, I'm gonna go back to my current project settings. Hopefully Matt McCool comes in here, because I think he actually has a solution for this. But I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. Twitch is trying to ruin our fun.
Hey!
100%.
Where?
What's up, Fair Foster? How's it going? Everything I was live. Okay. Ferret! There, how's that? I wasn't as enthusiastic as I was with Amio either, so there you go. So I only reserved the full enthusiasm for Amio. There you go.
Hey! Where?
Not entirely. It's just Amio, think of it as inspiring. And the horse is stuck. Why is the horse stuck? Wait a minute. That doesn't make any sense. The horse is coming from here. What? The mouse was moving underneath. That's this. Oh wait, no, that's this scene. Okay. It's like, how if my I don't understand anything that happens ever. Okay. Yeah, the horses are just hanging. Things are going okay. It's been quite up and down. I got laid off about a week and a half ago. Our whole team did, because the company was like almost out of money, so they had to lay off the team. So back to freelancing.
Part of the clip that you want to use without actually changing anything in your timeline, and you keep all of your timing the same, and you don't have to worry about moving clips around. And then let's go ahead and go to our last step. Now I can move the time.
All right, I think this whole part is going to be unnecessary because I'm basically just doing the same thing. I don't need to repeat myself.
And maybe we end it right around here, and we can end the clip there. And so now we have kind of our completed timeline.
And then I'm probably going to do a voiceover for this. So I'll take that audio. I'm actually just going to nuke this. And what was the job? Figure you was self-employed. I was working, so I started freelancing for a company near me about a year and a half ago. And then back in May, this past May, so like April of last year, freelanced for them for a period of time till that September. Started working for a different company. I ended up leaving that job because they were getting pretty slow, and I wasn't making anywhere near enough to support my family. So, and I didn't have any time to do anything else because the hours were inconsistent. So left that, went back to freelancing for a bit, was doing pretty good, went back to freelancing, and this was back in February, and went back to freelancing for that same company again. And then during this whole period, I was also doing YouTube stuff for Kevin Stratvert, which is what this video is for as well. So it was like those two things were the primary things I was doing for a few months. And then in May, that company I was freelancing for here basically said, hey, we would love to hire you full time because we're now in a place where we can do that. Unfortunately, it probably was a little bit too optimistic. But I took it because I really enjoyed working with them. So, and things went overall really well while we were there. But the problem is that they had put a lot of money and stuff into this product that they're releasing that's coming out in November, and they're in the process of like closing big deals, but unfortunately because they can't close for a certain period of time and that money doesn't come in for a bit, they couldn't hold on to us long enough to make it happen. So yeah, that's that's the gist. Is being as vague as I can. And shoot, I do not have this mic plugged into here. How am I going to do this? I might as well just record it up here. Yeah, I think it will, and it leaves everyone in limbo. Kind of does. Yeah, I mean, both of the co-founders were like, we're probably gonna have to like go to zero pay, like zero income for a bit, just to keep this thing afloat until like until the deals come through and the investments come in. So, I will say, like, the product that they're releasing is going to be incredible, and ironically enough, I'm in some of the ads on YouTube for it. So that's funny. Big hugs to my favorite Gerard Butler look like. Oh goodness, don't tell my wife that. All right, so, or you can if you want to. I don't care. All right, I need to record something. What is this? I don't even know what this software is. Oh. Oh, I can record with this. That's funny. I don't know. That's the weird part. So like, the company was really, I mean, there's multiple companies, but there were really two primary ones. And the one that I was working with was all video related. So we were like full video marketing agency. The side that they're doing all the deals on is more in distribution. So they do like distribution software. And for the clients that used that distribution software, they absolutely love it. And it's genuinely a great product. But because they're very, very unknown for the most part. They just haven't gotten the notoriety yet to become like self-sustaining. So still getting there. I did not know I had this Sonobus thing, and apparently I can record with it. I just want to make sure I'm recording a WAV file. Not that it super matters. Okay, that's right. That's right. Okay. I don't need output. Default send quality. Oh. I just want record quality. Oh, here we go. Record quality. Here we go. Wave 24-bit because I can't do 32-bit float. No, don't do that. Man, this has more features than way more features than I need. But let's see if this works. Okay. So I need to... Oh. Yes, I do, in fact. One second. Need to send a contact. Load up your questions if you want to as well. There we go. Okay, let's see if this recording somewhat works. Oh, actually, I should probably figure out where it's sending it. Record location. Ah, here it is. Okay. I want to record it straight to this PC. So here's a fun thing. Here's a fun thing I'm doing right now. So my mic is going straight into my streaming PC, right? But I want to record it straight to the editing PC so that I'll have it pop up right in this folder here. So let me just have this automatically resync. I'm going to open this. Oh, not open as a new window. Open file location. This is where I want to put it. So so it's in here. So on the streaming PC, I go doink, 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 select folder. And now I just need to figure out what I'm saying. Okay, so let's see. I'll write down in Notepad++, because anybody that uses Notepad, regular Notepad, is a scrub. Just kidding. I love you. Anyways, despite your flaws. Okay, so. Let's see, how do I want to say this, actually? I don't know how to want to say this, so...
Your timeline, and you keep all of your timing the same, and you don't have to worry about moving clips around. And so now we have kind of our completed timeline. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of the audio seems to not really fit because it was all around actually changing anything in your timeline, and you keep all of your timing the same, and you don't have to worry about moving clips around.
Thank you so much, Farrah Fawcett. I appreciate that.
Hey! Where?
Hey, Benjamin Bloxy, how's it going on? Everything in his life? Welcome in. Hello, hello. How did this even get up there is what I want to know.
Birdie, what are you doing?
Whoa! Oh my goodness, it's off again. Thank you so much with the Prime sub. Oh my word, I appreciate that. The lightning was off again. I haven't fixed that yet. Now I realize that's like the only thing that the lightning thing is actually the only thing I'm not able to hear because that's the only thing that's actually up on the streaming PC. I need to redo that whole thing. Anyways, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Oh dear. I don't know how to do this whole thing. Okay, so if I do this, let me see if that fixes it. Let's just go into studio mode. It's free. There you go. Yep, that fixed it. All right, cool. I fixed it. Man, I remember when I first made that, it was like so cool. You know how long ago that was? Many years ago. Okay, now I actually have to record this thing. Hold on. How do I want to say this? I guess that's fine. How did you know I met up with the trilogy? Assume the video. Yeah, because I said your name. That's why. I was like, oh, I know exactly who that is. All right, let's record this real quick. Okay. And I'll speed up trimming this last clip and continue with the next section. All right, so now that I've recorded that, I should be able to resync. Oh, do I have to save it up here first? Oh, because I put it in a new folder? Oh, that's dumb. Why would it do that? No, move to there, you absolute goon. Yes, I don't want an extra folder. I just want it in there. Okay, so now if I go back in here, hit resync, there's my audio file. Perfect. And that's how I record stuff on different PCs. And I'll speed up trimming. Oh, maybe I should make sure that I do that.
Worry about move. But I'll have to worry about moving clips around. And I'll speed up trimming this last round. And I'll speed up trimming this last clip and continue with the next section.
That works, I guess. All right, let's quit. Son of a. That's a nice feature, though. If I need to do stuff while I'm live. I still have not explored plugins. You should explore plugins. You really should. Okay. If you don't explore plugins, what are you exploring in your life?
Moving clips around. And I'll speed up trimming this last clip and continue with the next section.
All right, so let's just pull this up. Boopity boop. And then boopity boop. Cut off all that time. Unnecessary stuff. There are just so many. There are. And people complain that there's not enough plugins for Resolve. Incorrect! Inconceivable! Somebody listed something for free. What is it? Oh, nothing I want. Anyways.
Around. And I'll speed up trimming this last clip and continue with the next section. And so now we have kind of our completed time.
There are too many. Just imagine being an After Effects user.
And so now we have kind of our completed timeline. Now, if you've noted,
just imagine being so low on the totem pole. Oh, goodness.
Now we have kind of our completed timeline. Now, if you've noticed, a lot of the audio seems to not really fit because it was all just camera scratch audio. So how do we remove this, even though all of our stuff is linked? Well, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can highlight our clips, and we can right-click, and we can unlink them. But you have to do, yeah. You can right-click and you can unlink them. However, an easier way, we can highlight our clips, and we can right-click. You can right-click and you can unlink them. However, an easier way to do it, we can highlight our clips, and we can right-click. Highlight our clips. You can right-click and you can. We can. And we can right. You can right-click and highlight our clips, and we can right-click and you can unlink them. However, an easier way.
Do you ever see cut page? Yeah, I do. Yeah, there are certain scenarios where I think the cut page is relevant. Shrook! Hello. How's it going? Another thing? How was life? So a couple of distinct advantages the cut page has is the dual timeline that you don't have on the edit page, where you can see the full scope of your timeline and go anywhere in there quickly, and have the fine-tuned thing here. There's also these additional icons you can use with your source viewer that you don't really, I mean, you can assign these to keyboard shortcuts, which is probably the faster way to do it anyways. But these are really nice to have, as well as your standard transitions that you normally have to go into your effects tab and then go to transitions and find them through that. You just have the basic ones, including smooth cut, that are just right here that you can just hit and toggle. It's a lot easier. And then of course there's a sync bin, which if you're running multicam, is actually very, very beneficial. The edit page does not have the sync bin, so if you want to set up multicam sources and have everything lined up properly, the sync bin's a great way to do that, and you can make changes to it. You can just create multicam timelines from the media pool on either the media and edit page, but the sync bin gives you control that the others don't. There's also there's the sync bin one. There used to be the source tape option on only the cut page, but they've since added it to the edit page, so it's no longer an advantage. But the cut page also has these multi-source and replay controls, also point of interest controls, mostly used for like live production setups. Which I haven't utilized as much, but this is something that I think would be very, very beneficial for live broadcasting, and none of the other pages have these. So there's also the aspect of having the inspector controls in a different type of layout, which is really nice. So you can do it this way, and you still have the regular inspector controls here, but you have a little bit more of like an overlay that you can work with. So there are distinct advantages to it. Yeah, there's a lot. So, and then the actual timeline cutting is different. There's some features with my speed editor, which is right over here, There's a couple ways I like using the speed editor for the cut page, especially when I need to move clips around. There's a certain feature on the cut page that the edit page doesn't have, which is if you press and hold the split button, which also is move. The way that it moves on the cut page and edit page is actually completely different. What it'll do on the cut page is it actually just swaps the clips back and forth. And rather on the cut page or on the edit page, it'll just move it. Like you can use this toggle wheel and it move like by frames, but move actually swaps the clips, so you don't have to like put it on the next layer, shift it over, click the other one, drag it over, and then drag it down. It just swaps them automatically. So that's a fun thing. So it's a lot of like the little details that make the initial editing a lot faster. The only reason I don't use it in my particular workflow is because the way I record is not quite as conducive for it, because I need to make like fine-tuned video edits that don't overlap with the audio quite correctly. So yeah. Okay, resolve question for my Final Cut Pro workflow. I use Post Haste, which I use Post Haste, funny enough. What a different Final Cut project is create a blank project, set up all the folders and whatnot to use the project as a template. And Post Haste is the way you use for names of stuff, all things ready to go, and I can import the footage and all the sorts based on the smart folders. So in the same yes, you can. So basically, it kind of works a very similar way. So let's say this is probably a bad project to do it on. So let me find one that's actually a little bit more organized. Because all my I don't think I have anything on here. Let me just look for a second. I want to make sure. I have a project that's okay. I mean, this isn't a great example, but I'll use it. So like, let's say I use Post Haste and I created, this isn't actually my folder structure, but I'll pull up what my folder structure actually is. So, so I have like my docs, sources, project files, exports, but everything like that actually goes into the project uses sources. So like that's where all my audio, graphics, images, pre-renders, video files, and then videos like B-roll, interview, stock, and then I can enter graphics and all days and stuff. And audio is like mic, music, sound effect. I'll zoom in for you so you can see it better. Oh no, I don't want to record. Okay, there you go. So you have these folders. This is basically my folder structure for importing everything, unless I need to do something specific for a project. But anyways, so I can create that, and then what I usually do, let's just say hypothetically speaking that this was my sources folder. I can just drag it into here and then add folder and subfolders into Media Pool and create bins. And once it does that, it adds that entire folder structure down here. And what's nice is, and again, this isn't a good one because it uses importing like project file stuff, so it's not a good example. But what you can do is you can go down here, and I know I'm blocking it, so you can go down here and you can have it automatically resync media files. So if you bring in new graphics, or you have like a logo that you need to bring in, or new footage that you need to bring in, it'll automatically import that into the project once it sees it in that folder. Hopefully that helps and makes sense. That's basically like my workflow on a standard non-YouTube project. Yeah, there are some nuances to it. Like it won't recognize that you've created new folders, so I would make sure you have all of the folders that you could potentially use for a project created before you import it into Resolve. Because if you create a new folder outside of Resolve after you've already imported everything, it's not going to recognize new folders. It only recognizes new files. So that's one thing you just have to like watch out for. But I just did an example like this little voiceover file here. I had to record on my streaming PC, but I had to record straight to the folder that all of these are in, and then I just had it resync, and then it just imported it automatically. Yeah, Final Cut does the same thing. I think it's almost identical. The color pages resolve scares you. Well, I have a couple videos on it. If you watch the stream I did with Wampus, that might help you out. We go a lot over color management and how color management works and why it works the way that it does. And that gives like a lot of clarity as to like the confusion of color management systems and why footage is flat and why it's not actually what the image is seeing, blah blah blah. That would be a good place to start. But if you have specific color questions, I can answer. And the funny thing is, like, what people don't realize about these tools down here. You know, I'm just gonna move my webcam over here. What the funny thing is like this lift gamma gain over here, lift gamma gain offset. These are just basic mathematical operations. And what I mean by that is gain is literally just a multiplier. That's why it starts at 1, because anything multiplied by 1 is the same thing. But that's why gain affects mostly the highlights, because highlights are higher values. So when you multiply that, the higher values are going to be affected more because they're higher. So yeah, gain's just a multiplier. Lift is the same thing, except that it's the inverse. So lift, that's why lift affects mostly the shadows and doesn't touch fully white. Gamma is what affects like mostly. They say it's like it affects mostly midtones, but it's because it's an exponential adjustment, meaning it doesn't touch 0 or 1. Like, let's just assume black was 0 and white is 1, just for the sake of example. Gamma would touch everything in between 0 and 1. And then offset is just an addition modifier. So it will add positive or negative values. So it moves everything across the spectrum up and down evenly. That's how lift, gamma, and gain offset work. Anyway, I can show you practically how that works too. So let me add a grayscale ramp here, because this is just fun. I like doing this. Compound clip, blah blah blah. Okay, all right. So if I pull up my waveform here, so you can see this a little bit easier. All right, so we have our waveform here, right? So this is showing us like the far left of the image is black, so that's what we're seeing down here. The far right of the image is fully white, which is this point here, right? So the middle point is 50, so this is like exactly in the middle. So if I move gain to 2, then this value of 50 right here would be a value of 100. So let's just move gain up to 2. And there you go. The halfway point moved exactly up to 100 when you move gain to 2, because it's just a multiplier. And then of course, so you can see how gain moves. If I move it up and down, it's literally just multiplying. And then lift, you'll see it does the same motion, just in the inverse direction. And then gamma won't touch 0 and 1, or 0 and 100 in this case. Let's just hypothetically say that this is 1. So gamma will touch everything in between, but won't touch the highs and low parts. So 0 doesn't move, 1 doesn't move, but everything in between does. And then offset moves everything up and down evenly. And this is also a good way to figure out, like, oh, this is exactly what your contrast is doing. This is how your pivot affects it. Pivot is just adjusting the point of which the contrast is applied. And then, interesting enough, and you're not going to see the saturation part affected much because there's no saturation in this image, but saturation, temp, and tint are also just gain adjustments, but for those specific regions. So if I move temp, you'll see that, like, it's doing the most effect up here at the top and the least effect at the bottom. Same with tint. If I reset this, tint is doing the same thing, most effect at the top, least effect at the bottom. And I believe if I do this, I'm just gonna like make some color so we can actually show saturation moving now. You'll see saturation is doing the same thing. It's affecting most of the top, least at the bottom, because all 3 of these adjustments are multipliers. And then color boost is a little bit different. Color boost is, I would say, probably most similar to gamma, where, oh yeah, it's not actually going to affect this. I forgot. Because I think in the order of operations, color boost is before temp and tint. So let me reset this. Hold on, I got to make a new node here. Yeah. So color boost is like kind of mostly focused on the mid-tone areas the most. So it's very similar to how gamma adjusts exposure. But again, I never use saturation and color boost, and I don't recommend ever touching them because they aren't the most clean, and they make your image look very video-y. The way that I normally run saturation is I just change my color space to HSV, which stands for hue saturation value. And basically what that does is it changes your red, green, and blue channels to hue saturation value. So your red is your hue channel, your green is your saturation channel, and your blue is your value channel. The way that you can use this on a clip, and again, this isn't like a real clip, this is just a screen recording, but the concept is still there. So if I move my blue channel, you'll see that the value is moving, so that's your luminance or exposure. If I move red, you can see that's the hue, and if I move green, that's the saturation. Now, the key thing about how this saturation works is HSV specifically is a subtractive saturation model, which means that it doesn't increase the luminance of any of the color channels, it only decreases them, so it gives them like a more filmic density saturation type of feel. So that's why I use HSV. The only side effect is like when you subtract saturation in HSV, it like increases the luminance, so it has the inverse side effect. But the fun thing that you can do is if you add a parallel node in here, you make this one, it doesn't matter which one is which, but I'll just make the top one HSV, the bottom one HSL. HSL is an additive model, so I can just take away saturation in HSL and then add saturation in HSV. And effectively what we have here is a density adjustment. So it keeps the richness of the colors and brings the luminance down and gives it a little more filmic feel. Density is basically the reduction of luminance and higher saturation values. That's the simplest way I can describe it. But it keeps like the richness of the colors. So it's a little bit different than how where is it? Yeah, it's a little bit different than how hue versus lume would handle it. Is it hue versus? No, it's lume versus sat, or sat versus lume. It's a little bit different than how these would handle it, because this is like luminance based off of saturation. So it's this one. So like this one kind of does the same thing, but not really. So it's just a less clean of adjustment, because when you start bringing this down, you'll notice that like that video-y feel starts to come back out. Whereas if I'm doing it in this space right here, and let's just push it like really extreme for the sake of example here. See, I can't remember the math here. So, I mean, obviously it doesn't look good, but as opposed to like how this one treats it, you'll see that it's treating it very, very differently. So you still get like the richness, and once you make these more dense and like the colors are still popping a little bit, as opposed to like this where everything just looks garish. And you're kind of like losing that color detail. So anyways, big side rant.
And we can right click and you can unlink them. However, an easier way to...
But yeah, shadows, midtones, highlights, that's basically what they're touching. Here, I'll move my webcam back over. A lot pack from this YouTuber named Rylan Joey. I love his Let's and Vids. He made a power grenade, it took time to learn it. He's also Final Cut Pro, he's been moving to Resolve. Yeah. There are very, very few creators I trust when it comes to LUTs. Because 99% of them are hot garbage in terms of their accuracy. So yeah. But I'm not saying like if anything Rylan Joey's like made is good or bad or anything. I haven't seen his stuff, so I can't validate it, but if it's good, it's good. I'm glad.
and we can just right click and you can unlink them. However, an easier way to do it is just by selecting this linked selection back tab, and now with this disabled action back tab and selection tab.
I'll have you look at his lights and you tell me what you think. All right, yeah, send them over to me, and I can check them on a scale here, and then let me know what color space they were designed for and what they output, and I can see see how they feel.
Tab, and now with this.
Yeah, there's too many of these plugins. Just download them and play. No, learn the basics before you download the plugins. Just to be clear.
Tab, and now tab, and now selection tab, and now with selecting this linked selection tab, and now with this disabled, it doesn't automatically select the disabled. It doesn't automatically select the video and audio automatically. You can select each of them individually. So we can select all of our audio. It doesn't automatically select the video and audio automatically. You can select it doesn't automatically select the video and audio automatically. Video and audio, you can select each of them individually. So audio, you can select each of them individually. So we can
set automatically twice. I'm bad at this, guys. I'm really bad at this.
Audio, you can select each of them individually. So we can select all of our audio and press backspace to delete all of our audio. And this is also a good time for our audio. Video. For audio. And this is also all of our audio. And
hey, speaking of audio, if you guys are liking the music, I have a coupon code. If you want to support me. If you want Audio Pro or you want a lifetime license, use code CAM10. Actually, let me double check and make sure it's actually CAM10. I think it is. What's my coupon code? I should probably not show my phone number. Oh shit. Oh damn it. Let's delete that. Delete that from the stream. I'm gonna have to blur that later. Let's just go here. That's safer. Okay. Screenshot. There you go. Okay. Why is this not playing? Was that the whole playlist? Are I seriously trying to promote when the playlist was done? That's funny. Oh, it is. Yeah, that's the end of the playlist. That was great timing. Indie cinema. See what this one's. Except that's perfect. I'm just gonna reduce the volume there. Okay. Yes, I got lots. Okay, I think I posted I think it's actually in the YouTube description. You should give us a setup tour. Not gonna happen. I'm not showing my office. All right, let me think for a second. S-Log and Sony. Okay. Sony Space. All right. Oh, maybe it's just audio.com/cameratim. Okay, yeah, it's just save 70, but if you use audio.com/cameratim, audio with 2 eyes. Where's... Where... Wait, so if I copy this and paste that in here... Okay, so that just applies the tag. Okay. Yeah, so if you go here, that will do the thing. And then it's save 70 for 70% off your first year of Audio Pro. That's what it is. This one. That's it. There you go. They also have a lifetime license that's also amazing, which is what I use.
Giving up can be a part of the vision. Close enough, never a final decision. I'm flowing like the water. I'll never know what tomorrow is bringing.
Okay, where does... Like, come on, pause it. Goodness.
I'm flowing like the water. I've been swimming in deeper water. If it was love, could I be insane? I'm giving up someone for a new day. Drowning in the sunshine, I'm okay. Everything is alright, it's called fate. If it was love, could I be insane? I'm giving up
Okay, I'll just make sure, yeah, I know where that is in the future. Cool. I don't think I can do anything with it right now. That's fine. Alright, that's fine. That is a lot of lots. No added cartridge. Okay. I'll do the ones that don't have any. Oh my goodness, can you not be a goof? Okay. Now let me take a look at these. Pull that up, minimize that, minimize that. But why is the built-in mic on my MacBook sound half decent? MacBook mics are actually not terrible. They're not great, but they're not terrible. Okay, so the way he has him set up the color grading is the input and output. So CST is DaVinci wide gamut is the output CST. Okay, so these are all designed with DaVinci wide gamut in mind. Okay, that's not bad. Let me see. So it doesn't matter what camera you're using then. This will work for whatever. So let me try something here. I'm gonna go into some older footage here. Whoops. Okay, so let's just go into random clip here. Let me turn off my skin tone indicator. Turn off my DRT. And this is just my split tone, so I'll turn that off. Let me go to my LUT list. Oh, why is that the thing that it is? That should not be. Always set your 3D lookup tables to tetrahedral. Okay, DVG LUTs. Let's just put those there. Update lists. This is just what mono balance for balancing skin tones that I can use across all my footage to make sure my skin tones or exposure or saturation is all intact. It's a very, very useful DCTL. All right, let me take a look at this LUT here. So wait, Okay, so this is happening within DaVinci by Gamut, and you still need the DRT. Okay. Okay. Decrease the output to, okay. It's a weird way to design it, but okay. This is the only one I like so far. The Morocco one. If it's, oh, I guess this one's fine too. And there's Franchi's Bangkok Let. Yeah, it's the lets seem fairly aggressive. Oh, why is it doing that? Okay, I'm gonna check something here. I'm curious. Nope, that's the wrong one. Okay. Let cube creator. Let's do. I just forgot how to do this part. Let's see, I need. Yeah, we'll just stick with that. That's fine. Nope, not there. What are all these extra things? Wait a minute. Oh, it's not program files. No wonder. Took me to the wrong folder. Thanks a lot. All right. DaVinci Gamut Let's, and then let's just throw this one in here and see what it's doing. What? No. Oh, it wants me to save? I'm not writing it. Did I click the wrong button? Okay. For some reason, it doesn't want to do it that way. Great. Awesome. Love it. Cool. Okay, let's throw that in there. That's better. Okay, how did I do this before? So that does not let cube analyzer then. Let cube apply? No. I haven't done this in a while, so I forgot completely how to do this. Thought this was the right way to. Shoot, I have to go back and remind myself how to do this. I'm basically trying to look at it in 3D space, and it's because I need to shoot, which one is it? Oh, it's been a while since I've done this. No, it's not that. It's not 360 view. It's oh, here we go.
Bald by camera
3D
Tim.
histogram. That's what I'm looking for. Hey, Okamsenit. Hopefully I'm not pronouncing that completely incorrectly. How's it going? How's everything? How's life? Welcome in. Okay, here we go.
Hey! Where? Bald by camera Tim.
The John Sam. You were cool. Oh, first time chatter. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciated. This John Salmon soundbite. Dude, that was... Dude, it's a lot. That was a long time ago, too, and I still use it because I haven't gotten anything better. Yep, John's legit. Okay, why is it not showing me what this is supposed to be doing? Let me just pull up the Bangkok LUT and see. You know what? Screw it. I forget how to do it. I'll look at it. I'll look it up later. I'll do it off stream because I entirely forgot how to load it up. Watch somebody that actually knows what they're doing come in and remind me how stupid I am. Okay. Anyways, yeah, the usage of it, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a lot, like, I don't hate the look, but man, it's aggressive. And I see what it's doing, like, in the waveform, like, if we turned it off and then, you know, we just bring it on, there's definitely just a very, very heavy red channel shift. So, like, it would be similar to if I was to, like, if I just reset this real quick. If I set my gamma over here to, I could probably do it, like, a little bit, well, I'm curious. I'm curious as if this is, like, a very similar way of doing it. So if I bring this down. Okay, I want to compare and contrast here, so let's make this a parallel. So we're comparing the Morocco one.
Hey! Where?
Hey, Johnny, thank you so much for the follow. Very much appreciated. Oh, not a follow. Thank you. Hello. How's it going? How's everything? How's life? Wow. I just completely mind blank. Okay. Great, you're still streaming. As a company important question I was asked. Yeah, sure. Ask away. All right. So let's disable this one, and then let's just put this one back to like 0.6 to where it was. All right. So now let's go back to this one. I want to see on the vector scope. Let me just pull up these. I'm really curious about something here. Okay. So let me save this as a still. And then we're just going to compare it with selected stills. Okay. And then let's turn this off. And then let's see how closely it matches if I just drag. Okay, so it's a little bit more than just a linear adjustment. I see. So if I go straight down here. Okay, there's definitely some colors being preserved there. I see. Okay. Okay, so what if I don't do this in linear then? Well, I guess I did turn Loom Mix off. I don't think that's going to make much of a difference, but... Add green. Okay. Interesting. It's funny. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious as to what all is going on in there. Again, I'll look it up after the stream, but it's interesting. No, not that. What am I doing? I'm going back to my main project. Okay. Okay, how big is the film production? Wait, how big is the film production Rocket League crossover audience? That's a good question. Because there has been a few creators that were like very much into film production, especially because like I used to play Rocket League a lot, and there was that one guy that put on, what was it, the 12 Titans, the like whole cinematic production of the 1v1 stuff years ago, which was insanely cool. So I don't know. That's a really interesting question. I've never seen any metrics on it, but I'm sure there's quite a bit of crossover because there's like Rocket League is a very easily cinematic game. So you do know of plugins that can adjust EQ and compression for your microphone when you're chatting with someone online, not stream when you're on Discord. You can use the same plugins. They're all the same plugins that you can use for whatever. So like if I'm talking with somebody in Discord or whatever, I'll usually just output my mic from OBS. And I can use like a virtual audio cable with that and just use my virtual audio cable as a mic in Discord. But yeah, any of the VST plugins will work with that. So my favorite free ones are let me just pull them up here. Yeah, the M Free FX bundle from Melda Production. This one actually has a really solid bundle of free ones. There is like a paid one that has like a lot more, but the free one actually does give you a considerable amount of effects here. And as far as free EQ goes, the M Equalizer is probably one of my favorite free ones out there. It's pretty nice. But you also have like a couple reverb stuff. But yeah, these are all part of the free ones. So yeah, this is a good this is a solid one. I've also gotten some stuff from Waves for free when Jason Yodlowski was promoting it. Obviously, that was just a very, very limited time. Probably everybody's familiar with the Reaper VST plugins. They're old, but they still very much work. So like the Reaper plugins will allow you to do noise reduction. I bought a noise reduction plugin, Supertone Clear, and that one's pretty decent. So you can just run your microphone. It's like a source from microphone and Discord. Yes, it's not done in the way that you think. But basically, the easiest way for me to do it is I just run the audio monitor plugin. So here I can just show. I can show it on this. I can't show it very well. Actually, yes, I can. Here we go. Okay. So like, let's say I was using this as my mic in Discord. The audio monitor plugin, I can set it as this cable input device, which is it's just a virtual audio cable plugin. It's free, but you could just use that. And then in Discord, you set your mic to this cable output, and because your cable input is what is going into the virtual audio cable, and then the cable output is what's going out as a mic. But yeah, that's how I do it. And then I just run all of my effects beforehand. And then I just make sure, if I'm doing all of my processing in OBS, I just make sure I have Discord doing none of the processing. If possible. Yep. Hopefully that's helpful.
Audio. And this is also a good tool to show the snapping tool. And what snapping does is anytime we drag our playhead, you'll notice that when we get to the edit point, the playhead just kind of snaps into place even though the mouse isn't there, which can be nice, but sometimes we want to make a little bit more refined edits. So if we disable snapping by clicking here or by pressing S, we can move. Pressing S, we can move by clicking here or by pressing S, we can move this freely and it doesn't freely snap through any of our edit points or anything else in the timeline. And then we can add music.
So yeah, by the way, if there's any other questions on DaVinci Resolve or even OBS, if there are OBS questions out there, feel free to ask at any point. Also, if you haven't seen my color grading shaders for OBS, there are a few videos that you can watch, I guess. I just decided to port over some of the stuff that I really like using in Resolve over to OBS. The one thing I don't know how to port over though, and I don't know if it's possible because I don't know if it's integrated into OBS or not, is the use of color space transforms in some sort of way. Because that'd be super cool if we could work scene referred in OBS for color stuff. You can kind of do it if you send log into OBS, and if your capture card supports that kind of input, which thankfully mine does, but not all of them do. So, but the tools are there.
And then we can add music to this. Now, I want to make sure that we're not leaving this gap at the beginning of our timeline over here. So I can actually just press the up arrow, and that's going to go up, and I can press the up and down arrows to go timeline over here. So I can actually just press the up and down arrows to go up, and I can press the up and down of our timeline over here. So I can actually press up and down, and I can press up, and I can actually just go up and go up, and I can actually just.
Everybody's messaging me all of a sudden.
So I can actually just press the up and down, go up and I can press the so I can actually just. So I can. So I can press up and down. I can press up and down arrows to go to the previous
that works.
or next timeline over here. So I can press up and down arrows to go to. I can press up. So and I can press up and. I can press up and down arrows to go to the previous or arrows to go to the previous or down arrows to go to down arrows to go to the down arrows to go to the previous down arrows to go to the previous to the previous go to the previous go to the previous or
Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get.
I can press up and down arrows to go to the previous or next edit points to make this easier. And if I go back to the very first clip, previous or next edit points to make this easier. And if I go back to the very first clip and then
Why is it reconnecting? Well, that was weird. I didn't lose the stream, did I? It had me reconnect to the chat, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
again do the ripple cut, it's going to delete that gap at the beginning and start our footage right at the very beginning. And now I can go to our music tab. It's going to delete that gap at the beginning and start our footage right at the very beginning. That gap at the beginning.
No, you're here. Okay, cool.
Gap at the beginning and gap at the beginning and that gap and start our.
I'm gonna find a different playlist here. I'm getting put to sleep. There's a focus one. There's a focus playlist. Let's see if we can focus here. Okay. Cool, sounds good. I did see you sent me the link, so I'll check it out when I have time.
Gap and start our footage right at the very beginning. And now I can go to our music tab. We have several tracks to choose from. And I'll just go ahead and tracks to choose from. And I'll just go ahead and bring the track 7 down and bring it into our time. And like just to see how it sounds.
Sorry, I had to.
And we kind of get the picture, so it kind of seems like it flows relatively nicely. So see how it sounds. The track 7 down sounds. Sounds. To see how it sounds. See how it sounds. And we kind of get the picture. So it kind of seems like it flows relatively nice. So it kind of seems like it flows relatively nicely. And let's say we wanted to affect the timing of our clips a little bit without affecting the music. We can just check this auto track selector here, and then we'll make sure whenever we do our ripple cuts, it won't affect the audio. So let's go in here. So long. The start to the end to play. Use the This is the end to playhead short. It's the end to playhead shortcut. Okay, next one in, and then we can have it start on playhead shortcut, and that'll bring the next. To playhead shortcut, and that'll bring the next one in, and then we can have it start on. And we can kind of have it start on that beat. And then we can have it start on that. And then we can have it start. This one in, and we can kind of have it start on that beat. Next one in, and then we can have it start on that.
Man, I make my stuff complicated. I'm getting a phone call. Okay, hold on. Muting. Okay. Should be back now. Turn that off. Okay. So the other question I had was, one of your put in the pack of DCTLs that were not too expensive but very helpful. So I have a number of free ones that I would recommend, and then as far as paid ones, right here, iridescent color for sure. He probably has like the highest quality and expensive DCTLs you're going to find. That has skin pre-selected for a slider with a slider. So probably the closest you're going to get to. So the weird thing with skin tone is it's not an actual color vector, because skin tone usually falls in between red and yellow. The closest you're going to get to that is probably something like the hue compressor, because that's the one that's going to fix like hue shifts. And that's going to, yeah, this is, he actually does an example on skin tones with the hue compressor. So that's probably the one I would normally go to. But yeah, like, I mean, obviously keying skin tones is not ideal. So iridescent colors, a great one. Pixel Tools is also very, very good. Like Galdo Hendrickson is the one that makes most of these, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, these are really good. And then of course, ones that I use on a regular basis is mononodes, and of course mononodes is going to be the more expensive one, but these are just like they're insanely good. It's kind of hard to not see the incredible value in these. But like I use no. So here's the thing. I don't want to speak poorly about other people, because I don't do that. Now, what I will say about it though is the actual person behind it, Thatcher Freeman, rock solid. Like, the guy absolutely knows his stuff. So like, in terms of who is behind the tool, like, I've talked to him a couple times. He knows his stuff way better than the vast majority of people. He also has a number of free stuff as well. Did that playlist end? Or did it just pause? No, that ended too. Man, these playlists are small. Oh wait, no, it just stopped. Okay, no, there was more. I was like, that was short. It's because there's a lot more to it. So yeah, Thatcher Freeman has a number of DCTLs, including utility ones. He just has a ton of stuff in here. Absolutely very, very trustworthy in terms of the quality of stuff that he creates. And then there's a number of free ones, like the Tetra V2 DCTL. This one's kind of hard to find because it's like in a Google Drive doc somewhere. But you have to like go to this Reddit page here and then go to this where it has linked to another, and then it's in this color science tab here, so you can probably just go straight to this site here. But when you go to DCTL, there's this Tetra V2. This one's really, really good, and it's free. Another one I really, really like is the Tetra Interp HSV, which is in here. This one right here. This one is basically it's a hue saturation density shader, and it's really, really good. It's like, if you don't have the money to buy other DCTLs, this will basically do the same thing as others do. There's also this newer one, this Tetra Automator. I have not tried this one, but that exists. So, oh, and then of course there's the one I probably should have mentioned, the most obvious. excuse me, is contour. I don't have contour. I would love it. Excuse me. I'm just gonna sneeze all day now. Contour is amazing because it's like it's meant to be a look development tool. It is slightly more on the pricier side, but it's something that you could probably use on literally every single one of your grades, and yeah, it's not gonna break your image. Let me get to where it mentions the price. Perpetual license, yeah, $500. So yeah, again, it's not cheap, but it's got everything you need in a look development tool. So there's that. You can also try a free trial with it too. So there's a watermarked version of it where you can try it and see how it feels before you actually buy it. So that's something. Then if you want to go absolutely extreme, there's Genesis. Now this isn't a DCTL, this is an actual plugin. And it is expensive, but it has like some of the biggest names like Mitch Bogdanowicz, obviously Colin Kelly, Steve Yedlin. And it's basically was like 4 or so years in the making to make sure to get this to where it is. But it's basically it's going to be the most accurate film emulation plugin, because it actually is the closest to emulating the actual photochemical process of film. So like gives you it controls everything so much nicer than anything I've ever seen. Now the problem is that it's $2,000. So I mean it's really good. It's really good. I have tried the trial version of this, and goodness gracious, it's ridiculously good. And the other thing is, like, I have Dehancer as well. And Dehancer is really good, but and other people use Filmbox as well, but like compared, like Dehancer and Filmbox are like were the big two in terms of film emulation plugins. Genesis beats them both. I don't think it's even a question. And it's not to say that Filmbox and Dehancer are bad. It's just Genesis is that good. They somehow ironed out everything beautifully. I don't know how they did it, but like I can apply it. I can actually show you because I have the demo here. I just want to show how ridiculously good this thing is. So let's just go in here. I'll delete the other stuff I had. And it doesn't use a DRT, so we'll just go through here. So I have this. I think this is in DaVinci Webcam, and this is all just the corrections. Yes. Okay. So I apply Genesis onto this, and then turn the grain. Oh, I can't turn grain off. Right. That's fine. Yeah, it basically gives me the look I'm going for, like almost right out of the gate, which is nuts. So again, it's a demo, so I can't affect the grain because the grain is not what I would use, but they do that on purpose because then you would find a way to remove the watermarks and stuff. So they kind of just have the grain cranked up so that you can't do anything with it. But like, oh my word, I want this so bad. Like I could even push this up like a dramatic amount. And like, I can't break the image. I mean, I can if I maximize everything and like mathematically break it.
Hey!
But
where?
Hey, Miss Kitty Cat, how's it going? How's everything? How was life? Welcome in. But like, look how fast you can just get the look that you want. It's absurd. Like even with something like with Dehancer, which is what I use, I still have to play around with a bunch of settings to get it where I want. But Genesis, it's just like, I turned the DRT off as well. Yeah, it's just like, let me just give you a beautiful image right off the bat. Okay, awesome. Even when I'm cranking it. Like, it's almost like you can't make something that looks bad with it. I mean, you can, but you have to try to be making something bad. Taking one day at a time? Yeah, I feel that. I was laid off a week and a half ago, and, you know, things happen, but our whole team was laid off. And the weird thing with Dehancer is it doesn't really give you an output. Yeah, I was. I mean, our whole team was, because they basically said, like, yeah, we're about to run out of money. So, yeah, that's what happened. So, like, Dehancer can still give you some, like, good-looking stuff, but it takes more work to get there. And again, Dehancer is a good film emulation plugin, don't get me wrong. And, like, this isn't... I would not complain about this image. But, goodness, I just love... I want Genesis so bad. Anyways. What are the tips for best practice for making skin look good? Light it accordingly. Yeah, I mean, right now I'm working on stuff for Kevin Stratvert, which that came in pretty clutch. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so what are your tips for best practice skin look good? Okay, so I'll just go to the other project. Why not? Okay, so without me like trying to make this image look stylized, let me just revert these. I'll just take out the Dehancer entirely. So let's just say I have like my basic look here, and then that's there. Okay, and then do I have anything here? No, perfect. Okay. So the first thing I always do when I'm going through my footage is like I'm making sure exposure is proper. Now I think this is actually where I wanted to expose it, so I'm just going to make a very, very quick look. And just give it some nice contrast here, make some of the colors pop. Maybe give it a little bit of a density look here. Yeah, make those colors a little more rich. So basically when I'm looking at skin tone, I'm making sure my exposure and contrast is where it should be, and then I'm looking at my vector scope. I mean, I do have a better tool for this, which is my mono balance tool, and I can split this horizontally to see this better. Let me remove the timeline. But basically it all comes down to, usually it's one node, and that's my balance node, and I usually, in my balance node, I'll set my gamma to linear. This is assuming you are working color managed, and if you're working in DaVinci Wide Gamut, you do need to make sure that your color management, even if you don't have... Oh, this is using color management. Oh, maybe that's why everything's so weird. Okay, well that makes a little more sense. Because that should not be the case. This is an older project, so that explains why. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. I was like, something's off with the way that everything's behaving. Okay, well, that just cleared up a lot of stuff for me, and now I gotta redo everything. Okay, so let me just reset some of this stuff. I forgot this was an older project that I was still using project level color management for. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, give me a second. Sorry. Yep, that's... I actually am going to keep that. Okay. All right, I was like, why am I getting this image that doesn't make sense? Okay. All right, so that DRT's there, that's there. Okay, so let's go back to the look. Okay, so this was overexposed. I was like, I thought when I shot this it was overexposed. That it makes sense now. So I bring this down by a step. Okay, now we're just going to do that. The contrast look again. Okay. Okay. Is the stream buffering? It just keeps lagging like it's pausing. Is the stream lagging for anybody else? Let me know if it is. It doesn't look like it is. I don't see any dropped frames on my end. It could be the display going up because my display is actually like coming from a different PC, so that's probably part of the reason why you're seeing that. But yeah, hopefully the stream isn't dying. Okay, so now that we have back to, and then let's make sure our density adjustment's doing what it's doing. Yeah, it looks fine. Cool. All right, so back to where we were at with we're looking at our vector scope and making sure we have our skin tone indicator on, and then I have my additional tool on to make sure that we're looking at the right stuff. So in my balance node, I'm using linear gamma, and again, we're assuming that we're working in color management nodes, but even if you're using like no color science, you still need to set your timeline color space to your working space, because otherwise when you transform your node to linear, it's not going to transform properly. It relies on what you have set in there. So with balance, because we have it set in linear, I can just move my gain to where I get the proper color balance, and I'm looking for like yellow skin tone here. Something like, maybe like that. And then let's go ahead and turn this off and then see the before and after here. So skin tone looks pretty normalized here. That's before, this is after. So that's what I do for skin tone, usually. If I wanted to do a little bit more, I could obviously like work my red and yellow hues to like really refine how I want that skin tone to look here, and just make sure I'm not like pushing it in a different direction. So like, you know, give a little bit more of a pop to the skin here. This is my mononode CCTL, but this DCTL that I showed, the Tetra Interp HSV, will do the same, basically the same thing. So if I go to Tetra Interp, and I'll do the same thing that I just did. So if we just increase our red set, reduce our red value here, something like that, and then shift this over so it's not like leaning over too much towards red, and then work our yellow set, like give a little bit more pop to the hair, reduce that and give it a little more density. Basically the same thing. So maybe I went too heavy on the value here. Who egged me? Failing! Hello. So yeah. But that's like extra stuff you can do once you have your skin tone balanced, then you can work downstream to get like a little bit more of a look. So now with just this Tetra Interp node, we really make the dress doesn't look video anymore. Like we get that really rich, deeper look. The skin tones pop a little bit more. The background might be a little distracting, so we can take out some of the saturation there, shift the hues down, and then like make them darker as well. And this is with one node, and I really like. Is that the question? No, it's not. So, but yeah, I really love this DCTL. Again, it's free and it's extremely powerful and gives like really good results. So yeah, first thing I do is just make sure skin tone is balanced. First thing I do is make sure exposure is good. I get my contrast good, get my skin tone balance correct, and then I refine it later. So the order of operations in which the nodes are occurring don't necessarily correlate to which order I do them in. So if I, disable them, like the very first thing I do is make sure I get my exposure right, then I do my contrast, then I do my balance. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of just overall density if I want to originally, and then I, add the look. So, before, after. And none of this is using any of the color management stuff. So this is after color management. Like this is original, this is color management applied, this is the look. Well, it seems like a lot of steps, but like all this I had pre-built. This is just a template. So when I'm explaining it, it sounds longer. When I'm actually going through it, it looks more like this. So let's just go to this clip. So again, because these are grouped, the look is already set in place. So now all I have to do is just in my normal process. Normally I have 2 monitors, but I'm just going to go ahead and do this real quick. So yeah, like that's normally what it does. So that took me less than a minute. So like it looks like a lot of steps, but to go from that to that's all it took. And again, I can probably refine it. So like the skin tones might be a little red, and I have lights shining in my face, so it's kind of hard to see. So yeah, the skin tones are like slightly magenta, but it's close. So like if I just need to shift over my skin tones a bit. They're pretty easy fix. So yeah. Man, what's my shortcut here? Genesis look not. Yeah, Genesis is insane. I haven't tried Filmbox. I've seen Filmbox. I've seen really good things about it. But I've seen comparisons between Filmbox and Genesis still beats it. I think Filmbox is really, really good. So I think the order of film emulations probably goes like Genesis is the best, then Filmbox, and Dehancer probably. And again, Dehancer's not bad. The thing that Dehancer does pretty well is that it gives you a lot of control, but it's also partially its downfall. Because it gives you too much control and then you like end up having to look at too many different things. Like learning all of it is not easy. I was impressed with the free version of Filmbox, yeah. And apparently Filmbox, like right after Genesis came out, I just turned on something. Right after Genesis came out, Filmbox had a huge update or something like that. But again, I haven't used Filmbox. I've used Dehancer and the trial version of Genesis, and I'm just blown away how fast Genesis gets you the look you want, and how quickly you can just move tools to get the look you want. It's just ridiculous.
And then we can have it start.
You're close, failing. You're very, very close. Meaning not at all.
And then we can have it start on the net.
Okay, this is
We
the...
can kind of have it start on that beat. And we can kind of have it start. We can kind of have it start on the net. Start on. And we can kind of have it start.
Okay, this is gonna be...
Start on that beat.
Okay, that actually is an easier fix than I thought.
And then our last
Knew I was catching on. You're doing great.
start on that beat. Start on that beat. And then our last clip seems a little bit long, so let's go ahead and see if we can find a better place to cut this. So we kind of do this here a little bit.
I always want to know something fun. When do I not want to know something fun?
We do the same thing. We kind of do the same thing over here a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and make a cut, maybe right around here. So I'll click on this and you maybe right around here, make a cut. Go ahead and make a cut here. So I'll make a cut here. So I'll click on this and use that split clip shortcut. Move ahead.
Started eventually becoming a culinary teacher. Dude, that's dope. Well, congrats. Hopefully it goes well. And you'll have to send me some food.
Is that split clip shortcut. Move split clip shortcut. Move it.
I think I'm going to keep this in. Flick, 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 flick. Okay, what's an actual decent font? This? Probably not. I'm going to use it anyways. What can possibly go wrong? Absolutely nothing. If I was a full-time colorist, it would be a no-brainer. Maybe I'll get a job that will pay for it. Are you going to subscribe to Genesis? I would love to buy it. I have definitely do not have the means to do that. That's if I ever do, that's like way in the distant future. If color grading was my primary job and I could expense it, then yes. Well, I would just buy it outright. I wouldn't do the subscription model. I'd just buy it. Like, I probably wouldn't even use anything else. Want to know my favorite new font? Moon 2.0. You're either being extremely serious or completely trolling. Oh. I don't hate that. I'll take a look at that later.
That split clip shortcut. Move ahead a little bit. Split clip shortcut. Move ahead a little bit. Maybe bring this spot. Maybe bring this spot into it, so where she shows her face. To it, so where she shows her face, right around the tree. And then click and drag this over, and then and then we can make sure we enable snapping so that as we drag the clip, And then we can make sure we enable snapping so that as we drag the clip, it kind of snaps into place so that we don't overwrite anything. And then we go to this point where we hear a beat. We can go ahead and make another cut. And then it can be as she sends off. So we can just go ahead and bring that trim mode back again. And we can just go until it lines up with the music perfectly.
Now here's the problem. I'm basically running up the time right around here. And most of this is just fluff.
There's a couple more things we can add to this. Let's say we wanted to add some text, like as a title. We can go back to the beginning of our timeline here and go up to our effects tab, and then go to titles. And then we have a number of titles. We have some static ones, and we have some animated ones. Let's go ahead and find this clean and simple one. We can just click and drag it, and it'll automatically make a new track for us so we don't override our previous track. So let's go ahead and click on this, and then go into the inspector. And now we see we have some parameters that we can adjust. So let's say this is walking, and then in the big test, through the forest. And maybe I need to add some spacing here, but let's see what that looks like. That's kind of goofy, but hey, it works. But you have a lot of different titles that you can play with and play around with a bunch of different settings using our inspector. And then the other thing I want to do is I'm not really a huge fan of these jump cuts here at the end, where we go from this point to this point, and we can probably fix that using transitions. So let's go ahead and go to our video transitions tab and see what we have here. And maybe a simple one we could use is just a cross dissolve, kind of showing the passage of time, and let's just kind of see what that looks like here.
Okay, so here's my problem. I'm probably going to cut out the color spot.
Do some.
All right, I'm just going to watch through this. Now I'm going to see how we can cut this down.
And maybe a simple one we could use is just a cross dissolve, kind of showing the passage of time, and let's just kind of see what that looks like here. And that's not too bad, but maybe we want to get a little bit more fancy. Let's find this. Let's go down to the fusion transitions. We have this glow transition. Let's see if we can replace that and see how this looks. Now, it might not play back smoothly because it is a fusion effect. But that one's not too bad, actually. So I kind of like the way that that's going. Let's go ahead and throw another one in here. And that's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different effects. Those are how you can add some transitions and different title effects. And you can also go in and, depending on which type of transition you add, you can change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow quite that much. Maybe it's a little strong. So I can go ahead and bring this gain down here. Maybe just have it just do a little bit of a glow. Yeah, that's not as intense. I think it looks a little bit better. And this is a great start to actually putting stuff together in Resolve. There are a number of other things you can do on other pages, like in the Fusion page, you can do lots of different VFX, compositing, motion graphics. In the Color page, you can do everything from color management to look development, color correction, color grading. And in Fairlight, you can do all of your audio work. There's so many things that you can do in this incredibly powerful software. And I'll just showcase really quick because the footage, if you may have noticed, may look a little bit flat. So what we can actually do is I'm just going to showcase really fast on the Color page. We can do some really cool things, and I'm just going to go ahead and turn off this gallery for now, just to make our viewer a little bit easier to see. And we have these nodes that every single node. And the color page does work in nodes, which means that every single node gives a new image to the next node. But what we're going to do is do something really simple. Now, this image is really flat because it was shot in a log space. The easiest way to handle that is if we go to our effects, we can go to this color space transform. I'm going to go ahead and add this. And basically what this will do is it'll bring it from its log state to a display state that our display can actually show. So we can actually see what the image was supposed to look like. So on these particular clips, you can go ahead and set the color space to Rec 2020 and the input gamma to Fujifilm F-Log. And then you can just set your output color space to Rec 709 and then either gamma 2.2 or 2.4, depending on your display. And then we can copy this to all of our clips. Just by highlighting all of our clips, you can ignore the title that we made. And we can just go ahead and either right-click and select Apply Grade, or we can just even middle-click on the clip that has the color space transform, hit Replace. And now all of our clips look a little bit more normalized. And then we can go ahead and go in here, and we can either add a node in front by pressing Alt-S or add a node before by pressing Shift-S. And then we can just do things like making a little bit more of a look here, moving our lift, gamma, gain, and offset. Lift hitting mostly the shadows, gamma hitting mostly midtones, and increasing or decreasing contrast. And then gain hits mostly your highlights. So we can just do really quick stuff to make a little bit more pop out of your image. And then we can move our offset a little bit, just for simplicity's sake, to maybe get a little bit more of a look into it. But that's just a very, very base level introduction to what you can do on the color page. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up and do some stuff to the other clips to get them to a more normalized state. And then we'll show you how to actually deliver these. Okay, I think I've gotten each of them to a somewhat decent state here. They all look somewhat nice. All right, and now if we actually want to export our video, that's when we go to the deliver page. And on the deliver page, we have a number of things that we can do. And what's nice is we have these presets that we can use, and there's also ways that we can integrate into other platforms as well. The way we actually integrate into other platforms is we go up to our File, Project Settings, not Project Settings, what am I talking about? Is we go up to DaVinci Resolve, Preferences, and we can go down to Internet Accounts under System, and then we can add in these. and then we can sign in to whatever platform that we want to directly upload to, which is a nice to have. But in our presets here, we can select something like H.265 master, H.264 master, or we can even create our own custom export if we wanted to. And if we create a custom export, we can even save that as a preset, and we can save it, we're naming it whatever we want, and we can even add it to the quick export option, which is also on the cut and edit pages, which is also nice to have. So if we set up our H.265 master here, we can go ahead and do that. And depending on your encoder, you might have additional options, and that's mostly dependent on if you're using the free or studio version and what kind of graphics card you have. But we can just go ahead and stick with the basics for now, and we hit browse to set a location for where we want to actually export our file. And if we go into our project files folder, we can just set a new folder here. Let's just go ahead and call this exports, once again, to keep everything simple and clean. I can even add a 00 at the beginning of it with an underscore, and that'll make sure that it's always at the top, just so it stays organized. So I can go ahead and here, we go ahead and hit save, and then we can give it a name. We can just call this forest. And then we can go ahead and add it to our render queue. We also want to make sure that our in and out points are correct in here, and because we don't have anything outside of the timeline, we can use the entire timeline and it'll be fine, but we also want to make sure that it's not accidentally set at a different point. So if you can press, but if you did want to set to a different point, you can use the I and O keys to set in and out points, and that way you don't have to, and then that way you don't accidentally export the entire timeline if there's things in the timeline you don't want to include. But for this, we are going to use the entire timeline, and then to actually export it out, we can select this button down here that says add to render queue, and that'll add a job to our render queue. And what's nice about Resolve is you can add as many jobs as you want. So if you want to do multiple different types of exports for this, send it to multiple platforms. Let's say I want to send one to YouTube, one to Vimeo. I can set all of those up at the same time, and I can render them all out at the same time. And then just one last nice little feature that not a lot of people actually really know about is you can use what are called variables. And if you type in the percentage sign, it'll give you options to use some sort of automatic tag so that you can save this as a preset. And then that way, every time you load this preset up, it'll automatically name your file name based on whatever these tags you have set to. And then that way you have unique file names without even having to type in anything. So really nice feature to have there. And then lastly, just to show where that quick export is that I mentioned, if we go back to our edit page, you'll see this tab up here at the top right. We have quick export, and that includes all of our normal presets that we have, as well as any additional ones that we have created.
Okay. I don't know how I'm going to cut out 10 minutes of this. This is a conundrum. Because I feel like everything leading up to it was kind of crucial to have, but this whole ending thing is just like, how do you actually get it out of the software? And that's a crucial piece.
And then have there. And then lastly, to have there. And then lastly, anything. So really nice feature to have there. And then lastly, just to show where that quick export is that I mentioned, if you have unique file and then just one last nice little feature that not a lot of people actually really know about is you can use what are called variables. And if you type in the percentage sign, it'll give you options to use some sort of automatic tag so that you can save this as a preset. And then that way, every time you load this preset up, it'll automatically name your file name based on whatever these tags you have set to. And then that way you have unique file names without even having to type in anything. So really nice feature to have there. And then lastly, just to show where that quick export is that I mentioned, if we go back to our edit page, I can set all of those up at the same time, and I can render them all out at the same time. And then just one little send it to multiple platforms. Let's say I want to send one to YouTube, one to Vimeo.
This is gonna be challenging. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'll just edit it like normal, and then once I get to the end, we'll go through it and see like, okay, what goes in the chopping block.
Where she shows her face right around the tree, and then click and drag this over, and then we can make sure we enable snapping so that as we drag the clip, it kind of snaps into place so that we don't overwrite anything. And then we go to this anything. Write anything. Write anything, and then we go to this point where we hear a beat. We can go ahead and make where we can another cut, and then it can be as she sends off. So we can just go ahead and bring that trim mode back again, and we can just go until it lines up with the music perfectly. And we can just go, and we can just go, and we can just go, and we can just go,
and we can just go.
Load back again, and we click again, and we can just go until it lines up with the music perfectly. So load back again, and we can just go until it lines up with the music perfectly. perfectly. As she walks off into the fading sunset. There's a couple more things we can add to this. Let's say we wanted to add some text, like as a title. We can go back to the beginning of our timeline here and go up to our effects tab, and then go to titles. And then we have a number of titles. We have some static ones, and we have some animated ones. Let's go ahead and find this clean and simple one. We can just click and drag it, and it'll automatically make a new track for us so we don't override our previous track. So let's go ahead and click on this, and then go into the inspector. And now we see we have some parameters that we can adjust. So let's say this is walking, and then in the big test, through the forest. And maybe I need to add some spacing here, but let's see what that looks like. That's kind of goofy, but hey, it works. But you have a lot of different titles that you. But hey, it works. But you have a lot of different titles that you can play with and play around with a bunch of different settings using our inspector. And then the other thing I want to do is I'm not really a huge fan of these jump cuts here at the end, where we go from this point to this point, and we can probably fix that using transitions. So let's go ahead and go to our video transitions tab and see what we have here. Tab and see what we have here. And maybe a simple one we could use is just a what we have here. And maybe a simple one we could use is just the cross dissolve, kind of showing the passage of time. And let's just kind of see what that looks like here. And that's not too bad, but maybe we want to get a little bit more fancy. And let's find this. Let's go down to the fusion transitions, and we have this glow transition. Let's see if we can replace that and see how this looks. Now, it might not play back smoothly because it is a fusion effect. But that one's not too bad, actually. Fusion effect. Because it is a fusion effect. But but that one's not too bad actually. So I kind of like the way that that's going. So I kind of like the way that that's going. Let's go ahead and throw another. Kind of like the way that that's going. Let's go ahead and throw another one in here. And that's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different effects. Those are how you can add some transitions and those are how you can add some transitions. What did I say there? And that's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different title effects. And you can also go in and depending on which type of transition you add, those are how you can add some transitions. It's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different title effects. And you can also go in and depending on which type of transition you add, you can do. I don't like how I said that at all. And that's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different effects. Those are how you can add some transitions and different title effects. And you can also go in and depending on which type of transition you add, you can change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow quite that much. Maybe it's a little strong. So I can go ahead and bring so I kind of like the way that that's going. Let's go ahead and throw another one. Using our inspector. And then the other thing I want to do is I'm not really a huge fan of these. Here in the big test. Through the forest. And maybe I need to add some spacing here. That look. And that's not too terrible. So those are how you can add some transitions and different effects. Those are how you can add some transitions and different title effects. And you can also go in and depending on which type of transition you add, you can change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow quite that much. Maybe it's a little. So you can change the effect of the. You can change the effect of. And that's not. All right, I'm gonna voice over this real quick. See, is it still going to the... Yes, it is. Okay, perfect. It's all saved. And that's how you add transitions. Oh, I forgot this accidentally recorded. That.
forgot this whole time I could probably just be using dual screen. Of course, it's going to fight me on right-clicking. Because it's misplaced. Okay, that just doesn't want to work. Why can I not right-click over there? I don't understand. Do I need to do this? Oh, why does that work? Huh? Okay. I mean, whatever.
Not too terrible. So those are how you can add some
Okay, let's make sure that we change this to that. And basically this whole entire audio file is just nuked because I said too much.
And that's how you add transitions. And now you add transitions. You can change the effect of the add transitions. You can change the effect, and that's how you add transitions. You can change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow quite that much. And that's how you add transitions. You can change the effect of the.
Okay, I'm going to record another bit right here. Is there a way for me to not put this in its own folder? Huh. I don't see a way for it to not do that. Oh well. Okay, what was I saying?
Add transitions. You can change the effect of the transition itself. The effect of the.
Okay, now you can also change the effect. Okay. Now you can also change the effect.
Transition.
Okay, well, now that doesn't work. Why does that not work? Okay, just auto resync. I'm done dealing with you. Auto.
Change the effect of the. You can change the. Now you can also. Now you can. Now you can also change the effect. You can change the. Also change the effect of the. Also change the effect of the. Also change the effect of the. Now you can also change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow.
There we go. That shortens it at least.
Itself. And that's how you add transitions. Now you can also change the effect of the transition itself. So maybe I don't want it to glow quite that much. Maybe it's a little strong. So I can go ahead and bring this gain down here. Maybe just have it just do a little bit of a glow. Yeah, that's not as intense. And I think it looks a little bit better. It's a little better. And I think it looks a little bit better. And this is a great start to actually putting stuff together in Resolve. There are a number of other things you can do on other pages, like in the Fusion page, you can do lots of different VFX, compositing, motion graphics.
And maybe have music in the background while you're streaming so people aren't bored out of their minds. Yeah, I got an idea. Let me just go. Into, where is it? I don't know where it is. Oh, it's in here. Whoops. That's why. Derby derby derp. Are you entertained? Are you entertained?
Hey!
There we go. Where? I'm gonna delete all those. Wampus! Hello, hello. How's it going with everything in his life? What a beautiful Monday it is. It's beautiful now that you're here. I'm just trying to figure out how to make a video about Resolve in 15 minutes. And failing miserably.
In the color page, you can do everything from color management to look development, color correction, color grading, and in Fairlight, you can do all of your audio work. There's so many things you can do, and it's incredibly powerful software. And I'll just showcase really quick because the footage is a great start to actually putting stuff together in Resolve. There are a number of other things you can do in Resolve. Everything from color management, color grading, and in Fairlight, you can do all your audio work. There's so many things you can do in this incredibly powerful software. And I'll just show stuff together in Resolve, and I'll just showcase really quick.
Before he's about to get real, yeah. Just at this point, it's like trying to cut how many minutes of fluff? 8 minutes of fluff now? No, more than that, 10. I don't know how I'm gonna get fluffy.
And the color page viewer a little bit easier to see. And we have these nodes. And
it's getting so real.
And the color in nodes, which means that every single and the color page does work in nodes, which means that every single node gives a new image to the node.
Yeah, 10 minutes, yeah. I feel like there's going to be some spots put on the chopping block. It's just like, there's some stuff I have to show, and then the explanation of the deliver page is like, I don't want to get constant questions on it. But I also need to make it like brief enough to where it's like it can fit inside that. I don't know. Well, the problem is like, that's a necessary step. In order to export your video, you have to know how to use the deliver page, so. I was hoping to keep it under 2 minutes for the deliver page, but I didn't. Actually, I might have. Click the YouTube preset and you're done. Yeah, there is some stuff I can cut out. I think I can keep the whole thing under 2 minutes because I do talk about like here's the presets you can use. Here's how to create your own preset. Here's how the render queue works. Here's how you can set up multiple jobs. Here's how you can integrate multiple platforms. Because like it's not intuitively obvious how you can connect YouTube, Vimeo, TikTok, and all those other platforms on there. Like you have to go into a specific preferences tab. Because it's not on by default. Because like it has no idea by default. So I had to mention those things, and I mentioned quick export and how you can save a preset to quick export. So yeah, trying to do that in 2 minutes is it's a thing. They'll figure it out. Yeah, people have never opened Resolve before will know exactly how to find this preferences panel that says internet accounts. Sure.
The color page does work in nodes, which means that every single node gives a new image to the next node. But what we're going to do is do something really simple. Now, this image is really flat because it was shot in a log space. The easiest way to handle that is if we go to our effects, we can go to this color space transform. I'm going to go ahead and add this. And basically what this will do is it'll bring it from its log state to a display state that our display can actually show. So we can actually see what the image was supposed to look like. So on these particular clips, you can go ahead and set the color space to Rec 2020 and the input gamma to Fujifilm F-Log. And then you can just set your output color space to Rec 709 and then either gamma to 2 or 2.4, depending on your display. And then we can copy this to all of our clips. Just by highlighting all of our clips, you can ignore the title that we made. And we can just go ahead and either right-click and select Apply Grade, or we can just even middle-click.
If there's anything I learned about DaVinci Beetle, it's never probably easy. Never at all.
You can just go ahead and either right-click and select Apply Grade, or we can select Apply Grade, or we can just Apply Grade, or we can click and select Apply Grade, or we Apply Grade. Click and select Apply Grade, or we can just even middle click on the clip that, or we can just middle click on the clip that has the color space transform, hit replace, and now all of our clips look a little bit more normalized. And then we can go ahead and go in here and we can either add a normalized, and then we can go ahead and go in here and we can either and then we can go ahead and go ahead and go and then we can go in here and we can and then we can go in here and we can go in here and go ahead here and we can go in here and we can and then we can go in here and we can and then we can go in here and we can either add a node in front by pressing add a node in and then we can go in here and we can either add a node in front by pressing Alt S or add a node before by pressing Shift S. And then we can just do things like S, Shift S, and then we can just do just do things like making a little bit more of a look here, moving our lift gamma gain and offset, lift hitting mostly the shadows, gamma hitting mostly midtones and increasing or decreasing contrast, and then gain hits mostly your increasing contrast.
Hey! Where?
Hey, Car Craze TV, how's it going on? Everything else life? Welcome in.
Gamma hitting mostly midtones, so hitting mostly the shadows, gamma hitting mostly midtones and increasing or decreasing contrast, and increasing or decreasing tones and increasing or decreasing contrast, and then gain hits mostly your highlights. So we can just do really quick stuff to make a little bit more pop out of your image, and then we can move our offset a little bit, just for simplicity's sake, to maybe get a little bit more of a look into it. Maybe get a bit, just for simplicity, offset a little bit. To maybe get our get a little bit more of a look into it. Offset a little bit, just for simplicity, to maybe get our sake to get a little bit more.
Whoops.
To get a little bit more. To get a little bit more of a look into it. But that's just a very, very base level introduction to base level introduction to what you can do on the color page. And I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up and do some stuff to the other clips to get them to a more normalized state, and then we'll show you how to actually deliver these. Okay, I think I've gotten each of them to a somewhat deep bit to get a little bit more of a look into it. But that's just a very, very base level introduction to what you
Oh boy. So that's all. Okay.
Okay, I think I've gotten each of them to a somewhat decent state here. They all look somewhat nice. All right, and now if we actually want to export our video, that's when we go to the deliver page. And on the deliver page, we have a number of things that we can do.
Do you always do density drops with HSL and HSV? Not always, but it's my go-to for a base overall density adjustment. Because it also controls how much saturation I have too. So it's like you kind of kill two birds with one stone. I guess two because it's two nodes, but you know. I was thinking about the site and the dipping slot. You've been at this for a minute. Yeah, a little bit. The annoying part is like I know I have to get this down to 15 minutes or probably like something under 16 minutes so it still looks like it says 15 and like just ignore the intro and outro. I'll just do really quick ones. But it's like I don't know what to cut out to make sure I hit all the points I'm supposed to. I've already skipped a few things. Because like my whole crash course was an hour 20 and I breezed through that. So trying to do this in 15 minutes is like rough.
Do. And what's nice is we have these presets that we can use, and there's also ways that we can integrate into other platforms as well. The way we actually integrate into other platforms is we go up to our file, other platforms as well. And the way there's also ways that we can integrate into other platforms as well. The way we actually integrate into other.
Oh, I'm getting a call. 1 sec. Okay. I just got to get ready to go pick up dinner pretty soon. Okay. So what am I doing when I... Oh, what I'm doing when I color grade is white balance, gamma linear, density dropped, HSL, HSV, and I increase saturation, HSV. What more can I do? So the little bit of a loaded question. So, okay. I'm going to put a pause on this because I need to just not think about it for a minute. Okay. So I kind of went over a little bit of a demonstration of what it, like, kind of like my process earlier. So like, you know, here's what I do is I take an image from this and I did this very quickly. So this isn't like a great grade or anything. But basically how I handle it is like the first thing I'll do, I forgot I still had that on. Let me go ahead and turn that off. Okay. So typically the first thing that I'll do is like, I'll make sure, I'm just going to turn all this stuff off. So I'll make sure I have my color space transforms accordingly, right? And then, you know, I use instead of a CST for my output transform, I use the JB2499 DRT. It's personally my favorite one right now. I really like the way it handles colors, especially the way it transitions from shadows to highlights. It kind of like naturally creates some sort of like a color separation look. So I really like that. I also add a little bit of like a split tone effect, which is relatively subtle. But once I have like my look and stuff in place, here's the typical flow of how I do things. And I don't always use all these nodes. These are just all my presets, but I'll, you know, set my exposure first, which, you know, I do my exposure in linear gamma, of course, using gain. My second one I'll actually typically do is my primaries, so my overall contrast. And for this, I actually will usually set my lume mix to 0 as well, because I don't want the luminance to have any influence on it. It's a very, very subtle difference. I don't even think you can see it. Yeah, it does. It's you can't even really see the difference, but so I'll do that, and then sometimes I'll just well, actually, I'll go to the balance next. So balance, I also do with linear gamma, again, using gain. The key thing is you do have to have lume mix turned off for this, because the luminance will have an impact on how the red, green, and blue channels are perceived. So like if I move this back and forth, for subtle examples you won't notice much of a difference, but there is change happening inside of the yellows and the greens. So if I zoom in on this, I go back and forth here. Again, it's very, very subtle, and again, YouTube's probably not doing a good demonstration of it. But let's say I move this to an extreme. And then now if I move Lume Mix, you see that there is very much a difference. So if I turn Lume Mix off, it's going to be less like flooding everything else with a little bit more like a luminance balancing act. Whereas if I turn Lume Mix off, that means it's only using the red, green, and blue channels, and you're not going to clip any other of your colors that way. So that's the difference. Again, it's subtle, but it does exist. So and then after that, and then I have my HSL and HSV nodes, and then, you know, I'm just basically just doing an overall density adjustment here. If I wanted to add saturation a little bit more, I would go into my HSV node and increase it a little bit more, because, you know, HSV uses subtractive saturation. But I'll usually just start with a base here, because and in this particular instance, I just used the mononodes density, saturation density hue DCTL, and added a little bit more of a look with that, so that I could be more selective with it. I did and then that was pretty much all I did to this image. The other one before it, I did an example on. I did a little bit different of a look, to where we kind of did the same process. So, you know, changed exposure, adjusted contrast, got the balance, added density, and then just did the look. But I did like a little bit of a different look. But again, it just happens inside of here, inside of this DCTL. So, and I can show the steps to get this look. So let me just reset these real quick. So I know the main colors I'm targeting are red, green, and yellow. So let's go for skin tones first. So I'm basically just going to increase saturation on my skin tone here. Maybe like add a little bit of density to it. And this is a free DCTL, by the way. This is Tetrainterp HSV. This is a free DCTL. So I'll reduce value, kind of make those shadows a little bit more pronounced, and then move my hue around so it's not like pushing reds too much. I'll go down to my yellows, because skin tones also fall into yellow, but also her dress is very yellow, so we want to like target that in a really cohesive way. And also yellow touches a lot of these greens, because a lot of cameras will perceive this as a lot of yellow. So we'll bring this down and like really target these hues. And I know I can separate the greens on their own channel, so I'm going to push yellow a little bit this way, just to scrunch it up towards red, and then I can adjust the background separate on the green channel, and, you know, make it a little bit darker, and also like push it more towards green to get that color separation back. And that's how I create that look. So that's basically the process I go with that. The way to find this is if you Google Tetrainterp HSV. It's this first link here, and you'll see there's a couple of them, but it's this Tetrainterp HSV DCTL right there. You click on it, and then you just hit this download button to download the raw file, and then you just put it inside of your LUT folder. There's also a couple other Tetras in here. There's this Tetra Automator that I haven't used yet. I kind of wanted, and I can't show it now because I had to reload Resolve. But I'm not entirely sure what this one does yet, so I'm very curious about it. Did I even load it? I don't think I downloaded it yet. So I'm going to check it out. But yeah, so that's basically the basic process. The key aspect of all of this is, like, before you even do any of this, you want to make sure you design your look. If you have a very specific look, like as an example, if I'm running Dehancer, like I want to set that look before I even do any of my corrections and grades typically, because the look development usually becomes beforehand. But you usually want to run this on footage that's already pretty correct, like your master shots. But if you don't have any shots that are like perfect and exactly the way you want them, then I would correct them first. So let's just say I ran these two first, so I got it exposure right and balance right. So, you know, we go from this to this, so now it actually looks correct. Then we can actually go and dial in our look a little bit better. And, you know, now we have a little bit more of a refined workflow here. So maybe... yeah. So, again, there's different stuff that you can, there's a bunch of different things that you can do, but that's essentially the process. Is like you want to get your look in place first and then do your corrections afterwards. And of course this isn't going to look right because it wasn't designed for that, but yeah, that's kind of the gist. Do you have a DCTL folder inside of your LUT folder? Or you just barf on it? I do have a DCTL folder. So if I go up to project settings, color management, open LUT folder, I have this DCTLs folder that I kind of organize them all into. So I have my 24, anything that's involved with either the 2499 DRT or the OpenDRT. I've got all my mononodes, DCTLs. I have different tetras that I like to play with. I have a couple things from Pixel Tools, a couple of the Cullen Kellys, utility LUTs. I have some of the iridescent color DCTLs, and then I have a bunch of different stuff from Thatcher Freeman that are mostly utility, but some unique stuff in there as well. So that's all the stuff I got. Okay, it is Tetri. Okay. All right. I have to quit because I gotta go pick up the dinters. Yeah. Hopefully did that answer the questions, Car Craze? I quit. So the thing is, Car Craze, is like there's a number of things there. I mean, there's an infinite amount of different things that you can do. I'm gonna watch these last 10 minutes on repeat. There you go. Yeah, the thing is, like, if you have a specific grade that you're looking for, you want to incorporate that into the look that carries across all of your footage. So whether that's like you add an additional linear balance node into your look, and that's how you like shift all of your colors in a certain direction, you give it a look that way. Or you do different split tonings, or you want to incorporate like a film emulation LUT or plugin or something like that. And then, you know, then your grading process typically incorporates correcting per shot of per scene. Well, not correcting. You correct each shot first, then you can incorporate the grade for each shot and scene to make sure that they all handle the look properly. And you incorporate any creative styles that you want per shot or per camera or whatever. So there's a lot of different steps to it, but yeah. Anyways, I gotta go get dinner. So I'm going to see if there's anybody I can ship you guys off to. Whether you're on YouTube or Twitch, you're all coming to Twitch. Whether you like it or not. If you're on YouTube, get over yourselves. Let's see. Oh, look at that. We got a resolve streamer right here. Perfect. That was like the easiest I've ever found somebody. Okay, perfect. So I'm gonna do this. Raid that. Okay, set that to raid. And then for the YouTube scrubs, if you want to join in on this raid, this is the link. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I don't know why I spammed it that many times. But this guy's editing a resolve. Let's see. It looks like a music video of some sort, or a live performance, maybe. But yeah, let's go say hi, show him some love, and tell him the wonderful world of color management. I'm just kidding. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you guys on the next stream. And oh, you know this guy? Oh, that's hilarious. Okay, that's so funny. I'll try and hang out later if he's still on, but I do have to head out like right now. But anyways, I'll see you guys later. Bye.